The city of Rome has always been a stage for history, love, and unforgettable stories. But on this particular day, the Italian capital wasn't buzzing about ancient ruins or timeless art, it was buzzing about the sudden arrival of one of Turkey's brightest stars. Demet Özdemir, the actress who has captivated audiences across the globe, stepped off a plane at Fiumicino Airport, and in that very instant, headlines were rewritten. Paparazzi lenses clicked, fans gasped, and whispers spread like wildfire. Why was Demet in Rome? Was this just a casual trip, a quiet escape from her busy schedule in Turkey, or was there something deeper, something connected to the man whose name has been inseparable from hers for years, Yaman? For fans who have followed their story since the Erkenci Kast days, Demet and Can's names together are not just a coincidence, they are a legend. Their chemistry on screen was undeniable, their rumored romance off-screen unforgettable. And now, with Demet landing in Italy, in the very city where Can has built his second home, the puzzle pieces started aligning in the minds of millions. Italy shock, the tabloids screamed. But behind the shock, there was anticipation, curiosity, and yes, a bit of hope. Could this unexpected visit reopen doors long thought closed? The Italian press wasted no time. Photographers caught Demet leaving the airport dressed in understated elegance, sunglasses covering her eyes, yet unable to hide the small, nervous smile playing on her lips. Fans rushed to her, holding out phones, calling her name. She posed politely, waved warmly, but kept moving forward. The destination? Unknown. But speculations pointed to one man, Yaman. The timing felt too perfect, too aligned with the whispers that Can had been on the edge of making a life-changing decision. For weeks, Can had been silent on social media, a rarity for someone who usually shared his workouts, his career updates, and glimpses of his Italian lifestyle. Close friends hinted that he was reflecting, torn between two paths, one leading deeper into his Italian career and lifestyle, and another leading back to the roots of what first made him a star, his bond with Demet, his homeland, and the emotional ties that had never really faded. And now, as Demet walked through Rome, those whispers turned into an undeniable narrative. Her presence might be the very catalyst pushing Can to choose. Inside cafes, on bustling Roman streets, fans were already debating. Was this reunion planned? Did Demet and Can secretly agree to meet after years of distance and silence? Or was fate simply playing its hand, forcing them into a moment where past and future collide? Whatever the truth, one thing was clear: Rome was about to witness a story that could change everything. Not only for Can and Demet, but for everyone who had invested their hearts in their journey. Rome is no stranger to love stories, but this one carried a weight that felt different, almost cinematic. After Demet's sudden arrival, social media exploded. Italian Twitter trends filled with her name, Instagram fan pages started posting airport photos within minutes, and TikTok edits pairing her old scenes with Can began circulating with millions of views. It was as if the entire city had been holding its breath for this exact moment. Demet's presence in Italy was not just news, it was a storm. Meanwhile, Yaman was in his Roman apartment, the same luxurious home that tabloids have showcased countless times. A place filled with marble interiors, minimalist decor, and a view of the city that seemed almost unreal. But inside, things weren't as glamorous as the press made it out to be. Friends close to him revealed that Can had been restless. Nights where he stayed awake until dawn, mornings where he skipped training, afternoons where he was seen pacing around his terrace, phone in hand, yet never dialing the number he wanted to. That number belonged to Demet. He had heard the whispers even before the cameras confirmed it: Demet was in Rome. Someone from the airport had texted him, others had called. At first, he thought it was a rumor, another invention by gossip columns that lived off his name. But then the photos came through, and there she was, Demet Özdemir, in his city, in his world. Suddenly, the decision he had been avoiding for months could no longer be pushed aside. For Can, this wasn't just about love. It was about identity. In Italy, he had built an empire: TV roles, commercials, international fame, and even whispers of Hollywood connections. Yet, no matter how far he went, no matter how much success he achieved, there was a shadow that followed him: the memories of Demet. The laughter on set, the quiet conversations after filming, the times when the line between fiction and reality blurred so much that even they couldn't tell the difference. And now, Rome felt smaller. Demet's presence transformed the city from a playground of opportunities into a maze of emotions. He thought about reaching out, sending a message, maybe even calling. But what would he say? Welcome to Rome? Or something heavier, like, why now? The life-changing decision the headlines spoke of wasn't about a new project or a new role. It was about whether Ken was ready to face the past and decide if it still belonged in his future. Meanwhile, Italian tabloids fueled the fire. Some claimed Demet was in Rome for a secret film deal. Others insisted she came only for Ken, pointing to the timing, the silence from both sides, and the undeniable energy that always sparked whenever their names collided. The truth was still hidden, but one thing became clearer with every passing hour. A meeting between them felt inevitable. And when it happened, it wouldn't just be another gossip headline, it would be the kind of moment that defined careers, love stories, and perhaps, entire futures. As the hours passed, Rome began to feel like the center of the entertainment universe. Every cafe, every piazza, every crowded street seemed to carry the same question: would Demet and Ken meet? Fans camped outside the luxury hotels where celebrities usually stayed, others gathered near Ken's known spots, his gym, his favorite restaurants, even the small streets leading to his apartment. The city had transformed into a stage, and everyone was waiting for the curtain to rise. Demet, meanwhile, remained silent. No posts, no stories, not even a hint of her plans. For someone who usually shared small glimpses of her daily life, this silence was loud. It fueled the mystery, making her every move seem intentional, calculated, and filled with hidden meaning. Was she avoiding attention, or was she deliberately letting curiosity grow? Whatever the reason, her silence worked. The world was watching her more closely than ever. Inside his apartment, Ken felt the pressure building. He had always been a man of action, someone who embraced challenges head-on. Yet this was different. This wasn't a script, a role, or a press interview he could control. This was personal. And it terrified him more than he wanted to admit. Memories of their last conversations echoed in his mind. The words they didn't say back then felt heavier now than the words they had exchanged. Regret was a dangerous weight, and Ken had been carrying it for years. His closest friend in Rome, a confidant who had witnessed his highs and lows, urged him to face it. "You built everything here, success, fame, fortune, but what good is it if you're haunted every night?" Ken didn't answer. He knew the truth. His silence wasn't denial, it was fear. Fear of hearing Demet's voice again, fear of seeing the look in her eyes, fear of realizing that no matter what he had achieved, the one thing he truly wanted might already be lost. The Italian press didn't make things easier. One magazine released an article claiming Demet had been spotted in Trastevere, walking through the narrow streets with a mysterious man. The headline screamed of a secret meeting, but the photos were blurry, inconclusive. Fans refused to believe it. That man wasn't Ken, some argued. It was probably just a manager or a friend. Yet others insisted it was all part of a bigger story. Demet's arrival wasn't random, it was destiny pulling them back together, piece by piece. Ken knew he couldn't hide forever. That evening, as the Roman sky turned a golden hue and the streets glowed with the lights of the city, he stood on his balcony, staring into the distance. He could hear the city's pulse, the faint noise of cars, laughter, and life. And somewhere in that vastness was Demet, breathing the same air, walking the same streets. The decision pressed harder on him. This was no longer about avoiding the past. It was about whether he was willing to risk everything for the chance to rewrite it. The following morning, Rome awoke with fresh headlines splashed across every newspaper stand: Demet's secret dinner in Rome. According to reports, she had been seen entering a discreet restaurant in the heart of the city. Cameras captured only a shadowy silhouette, but that was enough to ignite another wave of speculation. Some swore it was Ken who joined her, others claimed it was a film producer, but the mystery only deepened. Ken, on the other hand, was reaching his breaking point. The decision that had haunted him for weeks was now unavoidable. Friends tried to distract him with talk of upcoming projects, contracts, and opportunities abroad, but none of it mattered. What mattered was the one truth he couldn't escape. Demet was here, and fate had handed him a chance to confront what he had buried. Late in the afternoon, Ken finally picked up his phone. His hand trembled slightly as he scrolled through his contacts. Her name was still there, untouched, as if waiting. For years, he had resisted the temptation to dial it, to hear her voice. But today, something shifted. He typed a short message, simple, direct, but stopped just before sending it. The fear wasn't rejection. It was the possibility that if he reached out, everything he had built might unravel. Meanwhile, Demet remained cloaked in silence. She avoided the crowds, moving carefully through the city. But witnesses noticed something different in her demeanor. Her smiles were softer, her gestures more reflective. It was as though she too was carrying a weight, one that only a conversation with Ken could lift. As night fell, Rome's streets shimmered under the glow of lamps and laughter from trattorias. Somewhere in the city, two hearts beat faster than the rest, two lives suspended between past and future. And though the cameras had yet to catch the moment, everyone sensed it was coming. The meeting wasn't just possible, it was inevitable. The story of Demet and Ken had always been more than just gossip. For millions, it was a modern fairy tale, a reminder that love could be real even in the world of cameras, contracts, and constant scrutiny. And now, with Demet in Rome and Ken standing on the edge of a decision, that fairy tale was once again alive. The decision he faced wasn't about choosing between Italy and Turkey, or career and love. It was about courage. Did he have the courage to open the door he had closed years ago? Did he have the strength to admit that despite everything, distance, silence, new relationships, and time, his heart had never really moved on? The final whispers from insiders suggested that a private meeting did happen, away from the cameras. No photos, no videos, just two people sitting across from each other, with nothing but unspoken words filling the air. Whether tears were shed, whether forgiveness was found, whether promises were made, no one knows. But one thing became clear: Ken made his decision. He chose not to run, not to hide. He chose to face the past, to look Demet in the eyes, and to accept whatever truth awaited him there. And for those who had followed their journey since the very beginning, that was enough. Because sometimes, the most life-changing decisions aren't about contracts or fame, they're about listening to the heart. Rome will remember that night, not for the paparazzi photos or the endless speculation, but for the possibility it carried, the possibility that two souls, once torn apart, might finally have found their way back to each other. And so, as the city sleeps and the world waits for the next headline, one thing is certain: this was not the end of their story. It was only the beginning of a new chapter, one that promised to change everything.